Hi, I thought I'd share another project that I just finished, and so this is kind of also in keeping with the using up scraps and recycle, reuse, and so I made a book that is completely made up of signatures of envelopes, the sort of envelopes that you get in with bills, things like that, and since we pay our things online, these would otherwise get recycled. So I decided I was going to make a book. And so it allowed me to just use up all kinds of scraps, lots of things going on, lots of home images because we're home searching for a house, and lots of black and white photos. In this case, I'd used the lady on something else, but I thought it was kind of cool, little silhouette, little shadow. And just lots of places where you can tuck things, of course, and lots of places where you can journal. Lucy Stone, little women's rights, um, woman power kind of thing. And I like the little acetate windows in the envelopes. You could tuck lots of cool things in them, I think. And this is a box actually from fast food. There were chicken strips in this, and then the top actually has little flaps that tell the workers what's going in the boxes. And so I collected actually a couple of those, and I think in the next one I'm going to string ribbon through it, kind of corset style. Kind of cool. And so I guess when I collage and do things like this, I end up repeating lots of different patterns. And so, for instance, I use numbers consistently throughout. I also use circle shapes. You'll see more circle type shapes and arrows. I ended up doing lots of hand images, which, if anybody knows my stuff, they know I like hands. More circles. Lots of little bits and pieces of paper. I'm constantly going to the thrift store and trying to find cool books. This is also from the thrift store. Basically, it's one of those alphabet card decks when you're teaching your kids how to say the alphabet. More alphabet. I thought it was kind of cool just to put a whole sheet of these stickers in there. I'm too impatient to get the tiny little stickers off, and so my paws are too big, and I just stuck it in there. I kind of like the way it looks. And just lots of little images. I started cutting out lots of words. My mother-in-law gave me a subscription to Better Homes and Gardens, so I read the magazine and then cut out all the words that I think I'd want to use. And I try, and here's more numbers. This is from a almanac, so there's lots of times and things here. I try and repeat things, nature and nature, just for a little consistency. Same way, consistency with the color scheme. Just lots of places to journal or tuck photos if I choose to. Watches are also kind of a theme that I often have in the things that I make. Hands, watches, and just lots of fun flaps. You know, if I've got the two envelope flaps glued together, it's kind of cool to see what they do and what they overlap. I like to create interest that way. More kids cards, learning cards. And in this case, usually I'm buying strangers' black and white photos, but this is actually a family related one, and this is my mom and aunt's dog, and this is on the family farm up in Kendrick, so that's cool. And lots of home images. We've been searching for a house to buy. That would be our first house, and so that's kind of on my mind. You see lots of house images. This is just a kind of a fun little page. I was going to put a little square stamp, like check yes or no, only which are you going to do, work or play? more hands. Oops. And once I started working with the words, I started to basically find, I guess, advice for myself, positive advice. Been kind of grumpy lately, kind of sad. And just lots of things, kind of fun. I have a friend who's really sassy with the words that she pairs with her photos, and so I took inspiration from that. I'm not usually humorous, I guess, but I cracked myself up with that. Here's more leftovers from the book that this is, or from the cover, and just lots of more house type images. That's that food box again. It's kind of like a domino. It also repeats the circle shape. More circle shapes. And just kind of cool to use my leftovers. Each panel, back panel, has an envelope that I've recycled and sewn on. People are going to think I don't know how to bookmake. I do. I know that typically I'd be bringing the tops of the cover over and mitering it along here and then covering it with the cover paper. But I kind of wanted the craft paper to show, and so I left it alone. But here you can see kind of a detail. It's quilty. So for the cover, I basically sewed all over scraps until it had a very quilted texture. I'm going to very carefully bring this around, and you can see that I just took all kinds of scraps in the same color scheme and sewed them quilt style. I don't recommend doing this if you have a fancy machine, but I don't have a fancy machine. I have a workhorse little tiny machine that I've had for years, and it works to sew papers. It doesn't have any fancy stitch patterns or anything, but it worked for what I wanted, and I really like the result. And I actually made, I don't know if you can see, let's see if I can squash this together. I made it into the shape of a box, and then the idea is that I'm just going to put an elastic around it so that it stays in that box shape. So that's what I've been working on for the past probably 2 weeks, and now it's on to another project. Thanks for watching.